you say like, all right, I want to draw an A. So here you follow those dotted lines,
Look at that.
easy and
That's
easy.
amazing.
And then you can even like pull that out.
Everybody, I'm here with Stefan Kunz. Um, hey, what's up? It's so awesome to have you here on the show on Detour Shirts. He's an awesome lettering artist. I'm going to read his bio just like I do everyone. This isn't going to be an interview, though. This is going to be more of a demo. Stefan is an awesome lettering artist, and he's going to show you some skills that you can learn as well. But first, let me read this. Stefan Kunz is only 30 years old. He's a former bank turned artist. He's a professional lettering artist since 2017. He has published 2 books, The Art of Lettering and You Are God's Masterpiece. Worked with clients such as Coke, Nespresso, Apple, Microsoft, Procreate, LG, Logitech, and many, many more. His first paid client was, in fact, a t-shirt brand, which is interesting. I'd have to ask you about that. And now he runs a team of 3, including himself, from his studio in Zurich, Switzerland. So this is a long distance call here. This is awesome. He's mostly teaching, doing client work, and creating products that help people create. And we're going to get into some of those. You can see his amazing works of art on his website, on his YouTube channel, and on his Instagram that has over 560,000 followers, with posts that gets millions of views. And it's no wonder, because these posts are amazing. I myself am a fan. I've subscribed to his channel, and I was there this morning just going through and watching, and I was almost late for this interview because I kept watching your videos over and over. The artwork is just amazing, and it's really that good. If you're not a subscriber to Instagram, you should go on there. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. Stefan, welcome to Detour
Thank
Shirts
you.
channel. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here.
My pleasure. It's early morning for you, and it's already afternoon for me.
Yeah,
And I'm so excited to do this.
the time difference is great, but it's so nice to have you here. I would wake up early anytime to look at your stuff and have you teach us. This is great. A lot of my audience are t-shirt designers. Tell us a little bit before you start and show. Tell us a little bit about. You said your first paid client was a t-shirt brand.
Yes. So I looked it up just recently. I did a video on like how I made $1 million with Procreate, so with the app that I love to use. And one of the very first project that I ever did, the first client project that I worked on Procreate, was in fact a company called Walk in Love that creates faith-based T-shirt designs. And so they reached out asking for, I think, like what my quote would be for one design, and I said something around $400, and suddenly I got like 7 designs to create, 7 different pieces, all very individual, and really exciting project for me to start on, because that was already more money than I expected to make, and it was really cool. And I still have one of the t-shirts in my
Nice.
closet to this day, so it's probably like 6 years old now.
Wow. That's amazing. So you know a lot about t-shirt design. You've done them yourself. So I think that's why this interview is so cool. That not only are you a lettering artist, but you know the t-shirt industry as well. So this is perfect combination. Um, I'm excited to see what you're going to show us today. I know you have a lot of different projects and stuff. I kind of asked you to show us something that someone could do with Procreate, because I haven't done a lot of Procreate stuff, and I know you have. So this is perfect. Have a professional Procreate letter artist designer to show us how to do it, instead of having me just fumble around because I don't know what I'm doing. But so we're gonna do kind of a t-shirt design, right, with Procreate.
Yeah.
And what I love and what we're going to see is how you can take something very simple that you might do, type it out on a font or with a font on the computer, and how much more, how much better it's going to be with Stefan, or learning from Stefan and his techniques, how you can elevate your design. I think this is going to be amazing. So let's take it away. I'll turn it over to you. I'll comment in between that's okay. But
Awesome.
I think most of this is just going to be watching your skills and just being in awe of of everything. So go ahead, Stefan.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I know that creating t-shirts can take a lot of time, especially if you wanted to create something really awesome. And the one thing that I love about creating something from scratch is to make that special and make it look and stand out. Because if
Absolutely.
anybody can do it, well, it's boring. But if you only you can do it, then it's going to be amazing. And so let's dive into Procreate. And here we are. I'm out in my gallery view, and I'm going to open up a brand new canvas. I usually use a 4,000 by 5,000 pixel base canvas. And here is what I'm going to do. So we had the idea to create something very simple, and just because for the length of the video. And this is going to be, let me type that out, class, and then I'll put the off in between, but class 22. And so that's kind of like when you start doing something text-based, like you're gonna type it out, you're gonna try to find like the right font, all of that. It's great. But
Yeah.
let's do it a little bit faster, a little bit better. And watch out, this is gonna go really fast. And I'm not gonna go in depth in all of these things, but I'm gonna show you my process on how I tackle this thing, especially with Procreate. So the very
Perfect.
first thing, what I'm gonna do is kind of like sketch out a couple of ideas. So here, I already have some ideas. So I'm just gonna reduce the opacity down on this here, gonna create a brand new layer on top, and then I'm gonna sketch out with a brush, doesn't matter which brush it is. And so just as a kind of like class of, and like put the of maybe in between, and then here, write that out, 2022, maybe also just 22, something like this. And then I'll put it onto the side, kind of like somewhere around here. And then I can play around with like different shapes, saying like, what if like this
Oh,
here kind of like crossed and was kind of like an arc here. And then here I'd had a little bit more space to write the off here, maybe something like that. That could fit in nicely. And so as I'm doing this, I'm exploring a lot of different options of what I could potentially do. Here I'm selecting this just to drag that a little bit out of the
okay.
way. And the first step is always to come up with as many possibilities as possible. But what I do already know here, and that's why like I'm saving us a little bit of time, is that I want to go in kind of like this direction, script on
Uh-huh.
top, then a number like that can be used with type. You can still use type, that's still great. And I know that a lot of people will say like, well, I don't know much about lettering. I don't know how to draw all out all these things. That's fine. So let's just pick this part here up. I'm going to put that into a brand new layer here. So here, I'm going to erase everything else. Now that's individually set there. Going to open that, going to scale it up. I want to make it big because I always want to, like, especially when you're drawing on like pixels, you always want to maximize the space. Like when you're doing this with vector, doesn't really matter what size you're doing it in. But when you're doing it with pixel, you always want to do it in the biggest size possible. For the class here, I'm going to look for an inspiration. And I'm going to Pinterest, and I'm actually have a board with my stuff like saved in here, some lettering, and then here I'm gonna have some script, brush script styles, and I see like, ooh, classic. Now that is perfect because what do we know? We're just gonna use class, and so I'm gonna download this. I'm gonna save that somewhere. If I can't save that directly like this, here are the three dots. Download image. Now I got that saved, and I can use that to kind of like inspire myself. And so I'm going to drag that in. That's my quick tip on how to create something very
Wow.
fast, really quickly. And now the thing here is, I know that a lot of people will say like, well, isn't that stealing? Well, yes and no. I'm not going to leave it. I'm not just going to just erase parts and then leave it out. I'm just going to associate it a little bit
Just a
and
guide.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, use it as a guide, use it here. So first off, I'm gonna see if I can trace that pretty quickly, seeing like kind of like, all right, what do we have? We can create here a new layer. Now I can see it. Take the brush. So here, one of the things I don't like that it's going smaller. So I'm just gonna try to keep that same height. So what I can do, take that guideline that I just draw, duplicate it, place it up, and you can see like once you get the hang of Procreate and you're getting good at it, you're getting pro at it, then you also really know how to use and how to speed up the process. And so now I'm just using kind of like those curves, so I don't actually have to redraw them. And then I can start like shaping this all out.
Wow.
And then here, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Like there, I want to start changing up
Yeah.
a little bit. If I have some problems like, hey, this is not seem like the same size, what I can also do, and this is a little nice lettering trick, so freehand here all around. And so this is why I love doing it digitally so much. Like drawing it out on paper is great, but here I'm just gonna reduce the opacity, going back on my separate layer here,
You
and
get the
that's
right
where I'm gonna
size.
draw
Yeah.
in.
Wow.
So that's, and then because I actually just drew an S, I'm gonna reuse that. So duplicate, copy, paste, boom, place it outside, voila. And now just like that, I already have a really good setup. I'm just gonna go a little bit further, merge this down, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the thickness as well, maybe change a couple of things just to make a little bit more of my style. But it actually, funnily enough, this piece already resembles my style more than you would think. Has like the thickness at the bottom and at the top a little bit. And so this is how I can quickly get something sketched out without a lot of time going by. And so you save a ton of time doing so. Plus, you create an awesome design. And especially when you're starting out, like that's how I learned. And that's how you're going to improve. Like from that, you'll see like how to improve your lettering, how to improve your styles, your designs, just by copying more people, learning from them, and learning from the best that you can find. And so this here seems to be a nice little sketch for me to start off with. That looks cool. And so the next thing is I'm going to introduce at 22. So like 22 here. I don't like this font. Usually one of my fonts that I really like to use, it's called Mission Gothic Black 22. That's great. And I'm going to scale that up all the way up to maybe here. And then let's see, if I place it somewhere higher up here, which is great, this is going to be fine in here. And then here, somewhere in between, I'm going to add the off. And so this is where probably would play around just to get that right. And as soon as I have a sketch that I like, so that took us what, like a couple of minutes? Super
And it's
fastly
unique.
done. And it's unique. Now, the one thing that I would probably still do is it's kind of like going in here and just to use up that space maybe a tiny bit
Smart.
better.
Yeah.
So
Even
kind of
more
like
unique.
this, even more unique. And then even scale that C here also just a tiny bit above the bottom line here, down here. So scale that up just a tiny little bit, freeform. I can transform that tiny little bit. I can connect it afterwards as well. So that's kind of cool too. And so now that creates a little better like connection points to here, and kind of creates that gap where I can place the off now just even better than before. So you see, you create a nice
like a
little
puzzle, you fit it in. Yes.
Exactly. And here you can even play around, like why not play that? I don't know. But that is already really kind of cool. And we can add like a lot of effects later, but that's kind of like the starting point. And so from there, what I would do is like, all right, merge all of these things together, create like a new layer. So that's kind of like my sketch done right. So I can reduce the opacity on this one. And usually what I would create is kind of like a grid scale. So I have the like awesome tools that we created with my buddy Ian and I.
I love these.
These are just perfect. So it's called the Letter and Grid Builder. And what I highly recommend is putting that on a new layer. And what it gives you really is giving you these perfect lines and outlines for your lettering, which is
I'm so glad you're
absolutely
showing
essential.
this too. This is awesome.
Do you use them?
I've seen these on your Instagram. It's just amazing.
So this is something that is really cool. Like we've had a lot of people using them, a lot of people loving them as well. And one of the things here, I'm just going to distort that a tiny little bit somehow. There we go. That's why it didn't work. So just a tiny bit of distortion.
You can curve it a little. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use the advanced like transform tools like the mesh just to transform that even a little bit better. And then I'm going to use the normal block, which is here, put that again on a brand new layer. So this is kind of like working fast and smart, not harder, because why would want anybody want to work harder if they can work smarter? I'm also, I don't know that about you, but I am super lazy. And so I'm
Huh.
always trying to find like the fastest, quickest way to do anything. And that is an absolutely time saver. So
Wow.
now that I've set that up, like my lines will all be straight, will all be correct, which is super helpful. And so I can move on into like putting these into a group, then create a new layer, and now start with my final letters and drawing. And for this one, I'll either use like a super fine brush, and that's where like if you have like bad like hand movements, I know a
Uh-huh.
lot of people do. That's why they love to use like tools like Illustrator. But imagine this: like you can draw here something out, and then hold down, and then here you can
Right.
snap it. Edit snap. You can now start to change the shape and like get it where you want it to be. So depending on what shape you want to have, and so it takes sometimes a little bit of time to just get that all right. So here I'm putting this together. Now edit shape. See, sometimes it doesn't work as you want it to work. Now it does. Edit shape.
Oh,
Perfect. So here I
wow.
can now start placing them exactly where I want. Luckily, we don't have to do that, or you don't have to watch me do that too much, because I have been practicing my lines for a very long time. Like I started in, what was it, 2014. That's when I started with lettering, and I did a lot of drawing beforehand. And so that is why I have also practiced a little bit more of the line drawing like the perfect
Wow.
lines. And but just wanted you to show like, hey, there's hope for anybody who
Yeah.
thinks like, hey, I
And we
need
can learn from the
some
best
help.
from you. And
Exactly.
this is so
Putting this
cool.
all together. And so here, I'm just putting this all straight. And so this is kind of like where it becomes fun, because right now that's when I would actually turn on a TV show
Yeah.
and watch something. And so while you're like working, I watch kind of like a whole season of Suits, or actually season. I watched a whole Suits show just recently while I was working on a client project. Um, because I had already sketched everything out, and I just had to finalize all of the drawings, and then suddenly that just takes a lot of time just to get those lines right, get them perfect. And so in that time, during that time, I got to watch a lot of episodes of Suits. Have you ever watched Suits?
A long time ago, I did. I know
Yeah.
Meghan Markle's in it, right?
Yeah, she is, and she was.
I mean,
she
yeah, she
she
was.
and she ended after she married a royal prince from England.
Yes, exactly. And this is so
So,
cool. This is the kind of stuff I watch on your Instagram channel and just watch it over and over, kind of like in awe of how you're doing this.
and now you see, don't work smarter, work faster and easier. So here I'm just
Yeah.
placing that
I
somewhere
love
else,
like
and I'm erasing these parts because that's kind of like, I just want
you
the
don't need
top.
that. And yeah.
Exactly.
But now
And
it
I might
matches the
actually
top.
even, yeah, and I
So
might,
cool.
might even
Oh, right,
pull
the
that
lines. See? The guidelines. Nice.
in closer, just so I can then here get that nice and fit well together. And that's a cool thing. Like here you can zoom in. And so imagine this. This is where the iPad just got so much style. And I know that sounds like a commercial for an iPad, but um, it's really here. I forgot to close that off. So merge down.
Yeah, the thing I like too is that like you can this is so much better than a paper pencil thing because you can go in and you can change it. Like with a if you're trying to erase things and try and like it's so much better for creativity and working out things and like you
And
can
so
get
and
things
so
right.
here
And if you
is
don't the first time, like you can erase it and do it again. Like
exactly.
doesn't hurt.
And when you can put that into your pocket, go to a coffee shop saying like, you know what,
Right.
I got a little bit of a desire for coffee. I'm that kind of guy. Love going to coffee shops and draw 'em. And just love the ambiance, love to be there. And so imagine like you don't have to pack up your computer, you don't have to pack up anything hard or heavy. You can just
Yep.
like take your iPad, take it out, and start drawing
And look at
and
that with the
enjoy a
lines.
sip of
You just
coffee.
did straight lines with the guide and easily made an
Exactly.
F. I think a lot of people could start doing that right now with these guides.
Of course. And even if you like, if you can't, like, we have the letter builder. That's a second tool that we
Yeah,
created.
yeah.
And
And
so
the letter
here you
builder,
can
that's
tap on
cool.
that, go
That's so
here and
cool.
say like, put that in. And then here you have like every
Oh, you
single
don't even
letter
have to draw like
inside.
circles. You just trace the circle. Yeah.
Exactly. So here you can go in, you say like, all right, I want to draw an A. So here you follow those dotted lines,
Look at that.
easy and
That's
easy.
amazing.
And then you can even like pull that out, put that together and say like, all
You
right,
don't even
I
need a
usually like to
font. You
take
just
that.
draw your own.
No, draw your own. And so you kind of like need to know a little bit where to place like those letter parts, but then
Yeah,
after a
but you got a
while,
lot of guides
see,
there. Yeah.
boom,
A.
simple
Wow.
A, and you can
Wow.
do a lot of modification, create something really fast and easy that you like to
And
do.
unique.
So that's
It's
something
amazing.
really cool. Now
Yeah.
I
That's what
drew
I
that
like
on the
about
wrong
what you're
layer.
doing here too. Like we didn't even add any graphics yet, and
Nope.
it's just text and it's amazing.
Thank you. Now here we still have the 22 that we
Yeah.
talked about like before. That was the font. So here I can still like do it like differently and create my own style of
Right.
two by just
Give it a little bit of
playing around
style.
with some shades. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so here I can add like a twist if I
Nice.
wanted to,
Yes.
and put that all together and seeing like, do I like that? And if I do, well, boom,
And
that
just
looks
copy.
cool. And so I copy that
Ah,
and we copy, boom, and then place
dude.
it here next to each other. And so that's kind of like cool too. You can have like a feature that shows you exactly where to place it. And then finally, once you're done, you hide like everything else and you're like, all right, it's kind of cool. I kind of messed up here, that S. So I'm just going to go back here and saying like, all right, let's select that area and maybe even more here. And now let's fix that roundabout. So here I can go into with the liquify tool and can start to pull
Oh, nice.
some parts out. And
Wow.
now I can just easily fix the roundness until like I'm happy with where it is. And so even here, that should be fixed with a pen, but can also be fixed a little bit here with this liquify tool. And so that's kind of a really cool feature, fast, easy, to do whenever you're drawing something out. And so here, place that back, seeing like, all right, that's kind of cool. But what if, what if I actually didn't like the type of S that I have here? What if the S's from the last version were better? Just duplicate that version, hide it out, and then let's see, I can just start to like go in a little bit closer and then start to draw on top here, boom. If I wanted to, I
What?
could actually also just get the
Wow.
previous version of our project. So here, that would be all colored in. And so sometimes
Amazing.
that's something that happens when you're not happy with what you did. You're like, oh, something bugs me out. Then you have to figure out like what it is. That's kind of like the hard part. But once you do, it's actually quite easy to fix that
Look
and
at
to find a
that.
solution. And you realize like, oh yeah, that kind of looks cooler now. And so I kind of want to change all of that around. And so that is something here. I'm going to put that in. And I realized like, oh, that is so much cooler than it was
Yeah.
before. So why not? Like, there's always like professionals always see something to switch and change and play around with. So here I'm going to take this S out
Oh my
and move
goodness.
that out of the frame.
Look at
And
this.
then here,
On the
this
fly.
too. And then finally, let's grab this part here too, and then copy and paste, move that out again, seeing, all right, so this is kind of like where it should be connected. I still could also check whether or not it's at the right spot, but here that looks fine. And now the one thing, again, is I want to make that a little bit bigger. So let's see if I can scale that up just in a manner or way that looks great. And we kind of have like a Coors Light font on
Oh,
this one
true. Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And so that's kind of like the cool thing that I love to do, is kind of like imitate or find like cool inspiration somewhere and then try to create a really cool version of that
This is so
and put that all
cool.
together. And
I
so
love how it
finally,
flows. Yeah.
that works well. I feel like that's something already really cool. And then once you're here, like the possibilities are endless. Like you could create a 3D version of that. You could create like a lot more. You can add a lot of effects. And so that is something then I teach then in my class, like how you can add 3D, how you can change even that into a ribbon font. Like imagine changing the
Wow.
class into this style of font and the
Wow.
22 into kind of like this style, like a 3D element, or even the class into this 3D element. That's possible too. Like there's so many ways that you can add to your design, make that really stand out, and just absolutely stunning piece. And the more you wow people, whenever they look at your design, like that alone, like on a t-shirt would already be great. But you can play around with it so much more. You can create a retro sign, style sign with that. There's so much possibilities after that. But here, that was kind of like the beginning, like starting scratching, like with the sketches and concepts, roughs, and then playing it out, finding some inspiration, placing that in, drawing on top of that, managing and fixing that a little bit. Like if I would show you right now, this is the original, and here this is
Yeah.
the piece
Different.
that we've done. It's different.
Hmm.
It got some style to it, but we still change it enough to really make it different. And so that's why like you can learn to create that, create awesome things, and create things that you really love and want to create.
Wow. Thanks so much, Stefan. This is
Of
amazing.
course.
Yeah. Man, I can watch you do that stuff all the time, and that's why I subscribe to your Instagram, because when it comes up in my feed, I'm like, whoa, I gotta watch this. This is so cool. And you can teach us how the thing is, the things that you showed us is stuff
Yeah.
that we can use too in Procreate. So
Yeah.
you've had I know you have those lettering guides thing, and this whole Procreate stuff. Let us know what's in that. I know you have a lot of these courses that we can take. I'm excited to take one too, because I need to do some more Procreate stuff. So this is just right up my alley, and I wanted to share with everybody watching right now. What's in that? What's in the Procreate stuff? Can you explain it a little bit?
Yes, I'd love to. So let me switch over here so you can see the first part of our Ultimate Procreate online course is, of course, learning. So we got a ton of learning materials, basically seven modules that look kind of like seven different courses, in which we really show you, or I show you,
Wow.
really the digital design process from sketch, from coming up with the ideas, how the process works, how I work with clients. So if you ever have to create a design for a t-shirt company, not just for yourself, but even for yourself, it's perfect process to go through. Then we learn to finalize it, to finish a really good design, and then adding effects. Like I showed you, the ribbons, the 3D, all of these things like texture, really make it stand out. That's all in the effects. And then finally, sharing your work to make something awesome and beautiful. And that's kind of like the design process that I will take you through. And of course, what is awesome about this course is that you really can learn from anywhere. So think again about going to your favorite coffee shop. Think about going to your place where you feel comfortable at home, on your couch, wherever it is, at night, in bed. You can start watching every single video, and we've designed those videos. We've cut those videos into different smaller portions so that you can watch like one chunk or bite-sized piece and then can go to sleep without having to watch a 2-hour video that explains you everything from A to B and where you cannot stop. But we've designed them in smaller videos so it's easy. But once you've learned all of these things, we always have the second part that is super important. So the second part is creating. In the creation process, you'll learn to apply everything you've learned. So you don't only get to listen and watch, you also get to apply those things and see like, how do I actually apply these lessons that I just learned to really make sure that they are in depth inside of you. And so we've seen a lot of amazing
Wow.
work throughout the courses that we've done. The materials that we're sharing is the same that we did in our Procreate bootcamps. And these pieces are actually not my pieces that I have created. Those are all pieces that my students have made. And they're so awesome. I've seen that
Hmm.
on Instagram. They've been sharing it everywhere. And so it's really, really great. But not only that, once you have learned all of these things, so you've learned all of these things, you start to apply them, then there's a second and, well, third crucial step. And that step is feedback. Feedback is so important and it always helps you to grow beyond. So, with the help of feedback, not only my feedback, but also from other students, from peers, that you'll learn a lot. And that's why we've created and added a bonus of giving away free monthly student critique sessions. So every
Wow.
month, once a month, we offer student critique sessions that anybody can submit their work into. It's closed off to only students, and then you can get feedback on your work. You can get new ideas. We usually teach, I end up teaching a kind of like an additional class to it. When a lot of people like ask me for the same thing, I usually try to sum up everything and to put it into a class. And so here you have an image of like our last critique call. We were like 4 people in the Zoom call. So sometimes you get access to me directly one-on-one. And all of that really results in crazy, never before seen transformation. So we've had students come in with this piece, and that's usually the very first assignment that you create in our class, is to create your very first piece. And then once you go through the course, you end up creating something that is so
Wow.
much better. Like you can see
Holy
that
cow.
transformation that Christine had, and it was really night and day. So anything before, unseen before. And not only that, often our students actually go out to create their own things. And one of the things that has excited me, I just recently got this this email from one of our students. She showed me the pictures of her own children's book that she created
What?
thanks to the lessons and the
Wow.
things that she learned from the course. And so all of the things that you learn in the app, you can not just apply to lettering, not just apply to your t-shirt designs, not just apply to all the things that I teach you, but way beyond that, and create amazing things that you really have access to. And so that's really cool. And not only that, you also get you get the letter builder, the grid builder, you get ton of like my favorite 5 brushes, the brushes that I use all the time in my projects. Like those are 5 brushes that I really 90%, 95% of all the time, those are the brushes that I use. The rest is like Procreate brushes that come along with it. And you get that for free. You get the letter and grid builder for free. You get the ton of bonus access as well, which is kind of like case studies from my project with Coca-Cola. One of the pieces that I created that went up onto Times Square, like kind of like
Wow.
how that went on, how I created that in Procreate and all of that. And you get an inside look, a behind the scenes look at what I created. And so that's all that is inside of the Procreate course. And there's so much more, of course, but you can already start to see, kind of get a picture of all of these different lessons. You can go and browse through all of this individual lessons. And I
Yeah.
can actually not wait for you to start the
Yeah,
course
I'm
too
gonna
and
start
see.
myself. I'm in on it.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to invite you, because I was gonna start it anyway and do this. I didn't know you had the Procreate thing. I was gonna jump in and do the letter grid thing that you have, and
Mhm.
I noticed that this is all bundled in. So it's like, wow, a bonus! I get to do the Procreate and the letter and the brushes and get
Yeah.
feedback. That I love that part about it, is the feedback, because a lot of people ask, at least starting out when they do T-shirts, like they don't know what's good or what's not, and
Mhm.
they're always asking feedback, like, is this good, is this going to sell? And to get it from you, who have done it and has the eyes to see it, and that's awesome. And we're going to give
Mhm.
a discount, right, to people that are
Yeah.
watching right now. Okay, I'll put the
Yeah.
discount. It's going to be Detour Shirts.
Detour shirts,
Detour Shirts, we're going to
20%.
be able to get this at, not only it is a fabulous price as it is, but Stefan is just nice enough to give us an even more discount on top of what it is, because you're getting, like you said, all of those things amazing. And what I liked about what you said too is, like, I was just thinking of T-shirts, but when you showed the book, like, you can do this on KDP, make your own books. You can do
Mhm.
this as, like, if you have a social media thing, like you were saying, show your progress on social media. People are gonna, like, as I like to watch yours, like, huge. So you can grow your social media account as you do this as well, like, so many different
I
things. So
I
I,
love
I hope
that
you
because
guys are excited as I am to take this, because but we just saw, like, what you can do with it, and what other people are doing with it. You saw the,
Mhm.
like, I love all those examples that you showed, that like a lot of those can just be t-shirt designs as it is right there. So amazing
100%.
work. Thanks so much, Stefan.
Of
This is
course.
so cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
love it.
And again, it's the most important part is that people start becoming confident in using the tool. Like I talked to you before we started
Yeah,
recording, we talked about like how if you are in the right time at the right time and you have the right idea, but then you can execute it. That's often
yes,
been my one of my struggles is I had a great idea, but I couldn't execute it. And sometimes I was like I had built up the skills, I had the right skills, and then I got to execute it. And that's why I was able to make this amount of money. Like I shared about like making $1 million with the app itself. And
yeah,
that was really just because I mastered that app for a very long time, for years, and I could create the right tools, the right brushes, the right time. And so things click. And when you have a really like, if you're a master at what you do, then things go like fairly easy. What my students create, that's kind of like what I am excited about, seeing the journey of transformation, transform to become an awesome designer. And that's so amazing to see.
yeah. And that's perfect, because you're right. Like I have on my store all the different holiday t-shirt holidays, and we can use that in conjunction with what you just taught. Like we know what holidays are coming up, like this class of 2022 that you just did, graduation t-shirts, we know that's coming up. And so you can plan ahead and do stuff like that as well, and just
Mhm.
be, be ready when trends happen, like you said, just jump on it. And man, it's so cool.
Exactly right.
So cool.
That's exactly
Thanks.
right. Awesome.
Thanks so much, Stefan. Anything else before we leave? Is there anything else that we missed? Where can we find you? I mentioned that you're everywhere. You're on YouTube and Instagram and all the places. Where's the best place to find you and learn from you?
Hey, any place is good. Instagram is probably the one that I'm most active on, and out of all the places, email is always good to reach out if you have any questions. Also, even DMing me on Instagram is a perfect place
Wow.
to ask questions. And then finally, all I really want to say is like one of my favorite quotes is "Create something today, even if it sucks." If you've been following me, you know that. But I really want to encourage you to start creating, whether it's like you've been thinking about it or whether you've been on the verge of like, should I do it? Like, it sounds always so awesome. I'd like to, but I don't have the time. Like, those are just excuses that we constantly have. And I really want you to get rid of that. And so that's why create something today, even if it sucks, is one of my favorite quotes because it reminds me to not listen to excuses, to just try things out. And usually that's how you get better at something and how you can create something really awesome and have fun doing so. And so that's what I want you to experience and have. And so that's why I want to give that back or encourage you today or motivate you with that today to create something today, even if it sucks.
Wow. Thanks so much, Stefan. Great way to end it. I love those. I love following your Instagram as well, because you often put those motivational things in there too, which I
Yeah.
love. So thanks so much, Stefan. Again,
Thank you.
people, I'll put the link in the description to all the different courses that he has. I'm excited to try this Procreate one as well. I'm going to show you some examples of when I do it. I'll put mine on social media too, so we can do it. And I'll probably have more videos on me using Procreate. So that's awesome. So thanks again, Stefan,
Perfect.
for being on
My
Detour.
pleasure. Thank you.
We'll hope to talk to you in the future as well.
Of course.
All right. See you.